Hi ladies, welcome to the second episode of Black Girlie in Her 20s podcast. Today's episode is called The Dark Side of Pretty Privilege. I know I'm going to ruffle a few feathers with this one, but the girls that get it, and the girls that don't, just don't. I want to start off by saying that pretty privilege is a real thing. When you are attractive, people just treat you differently. Most of the time, it's good and bad. And I'm speaking from my experience, like I've been through the ringer. I find like people just treat me weird, especially like other women. Like, you know, women are catty, period. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. Like, I am so pro woman and I'm all for like women, you know, getting what they want and getting what they need and, you know, putting themselves first. And I'm pro woman 100%. No misogynoir over here, no pick-me-sha over here. But I gotta call a spade a spade. Some women are just very catty, and I've experienced that way too many times. I've been treated different because of my appearance and because I take care of myself. A lot of women don't like that. And some of them gravitate to pretty women because they want to be like you. They want to look like you. And they try their hardest to like emulate you, which is something else that I've had experienced a lot of times in my life. You know, befriending other girls and they started to try to dress like me and wear their hair like me. Like, it was just really weird. Like, I know they say imitation is the highest form of flattery, but that shit was just really weird to me. Like, I don't care what anyone says. When you befriend someone, you're friends with them because of who they are, not because they're turning into you. I find that very strange. So if I'm your friend and I'm choosing to be your friend, it's because something about you I like and I gravitated towards. So now that we're friends, that doesn't mean copy me and try to emulate me, because that's not the person that I gravitated towards. That's not the person that I was like, you know what, they would make a good friend. So pretty privilege is definitely real. I've definitely gotten to like a lot of spaces because of how I looked, and you know, if I did something wrong, like let's say in school or in college, you know, it was kind of like, oh, it's okay, like I got like a tap on the wrist or whatever. I feel like I'm bragging right now. Like, I hate that. Like, I hate feeling like I'm bragging. Like, I'm literally the most humble person in the world, but I'm just speaking from my experience. Like, I'm going to give you guys the good in pretty privilege. So when I was single, guys wanted to do anything for me, just, you know, to get me to talk to them or just to take me on a date, which is nice, you know, getting spoiled and getting wined and dined. That's always cute and fun. But some men don't know how to contain themselves around a pretty woman. Sometimes they just do too much and their ego gets in the way and they feel like, oh, I gotta have her, and you know, she's not giving me attention, she's a stuck-up bee, and she's this, she thinks she's all that, but she's not, so I'm gonna humble her. I cannot tell you guys how many times that I've shot down a guy in the past before I got married, and their first thing to say was, well, bitch, you ain't even all that, you not even that. That's their favorite thing to hit you with because it's a humbling tactic. They know that you are way out of their league. So they want to bring you back down to earth after you dub them or you ignore them or you respectfully say you're not interested. Their ego gets so crushed that they feel like they got to bring you back down to earth, and they try to fuck with you and mess with your head, which I think is so like corny. Like, they're just very insecure. Like, it's an insecure thing because men love pretty things. Men are visual creatures. They love pretty things. So if he's a regular, you know, Glocktavius looking dude and you're like a baddie or a pretty girl, very, you know, nice features, and you know, you look like something, and when you guys step out, other men are looking at you, the guy that you're with, he feeds off of that, but part of him doesn't like it because he knows that he's easily replaceable. So he feels like he has to humble you and bring you back down to earth, which has happened to me so many times. I cannot tell you guys how many times like I've been humbled by, ex-boyfriends or people I was seeing or dating. And they love to do that shit because they know that the world is your oyster. When you're pretty, you can unlock shit that someone with a degree can't. And that's just what it is. I know y'all are probably like, what? It's true. And I hate to say it, but men would rather have a beautiful woman than a woman with a whole bunch of degrees, and that's average. Like I said, men are visual creatures. And when you're attractive and you have a head on your shoulders, oh my God, forget about it. You can do anything. So I think for me, being pretty and being intelligent, having a head on my shoulders, being soft and gentle and feminine and letting the man lead, and I can hold an intelligent conversation. I could talk about politics. I could talk about anything under the sun, and I look good. That's a threat for men and women. That's definitely a threat. When you're pretty, it's hard to level out what men really like you for you, or they just want you because you're something to brag about, you're something to show off, like a trophy. It's hard to kind of weed out like who really, really, really likes you for you. People also underestimate you because you're pretty. They think you're dumb. They think you're like a blonde, a dumb blonde, a airhead, which is such a stupid stigma because there are so many beautiful women out here that are so well spoken and so educated and can literally talk about anything, can talk about a range of things. So that whole like airhead, stereotype of a woman being pretty is just so lame, because I've had people talk to me like I was slow because they saw how I looked and they just thought like I was stupid. And I knew what they were doing. Like I always peep game. Like I always see what people are up to, and I can always like determine like, okay, this person is playing in my face, or they're trying to be funny, or they're being shady. Like I can always like tell. And if you're pretty, you know what I'm talking about. If you grew up with people being shady towards you, especially women in your family, women in your school, women at work, women period, women off the street. Like I've had women give me dirty looks for no reason. I've had women walking with their man looks at me and I'm just like, whatever. Like I'm looking at the both of y'all. I'm not thinking nothing of it. I don't want your man. So, like calm down, like relax. But that's the curse of being pretty. Like that's the dark side of pretty privilege. It's real, but there's a lot of cons to it. People will treat you terribly just because of how you look. And I've been bullied in school, bullied by my family, more so the women in my family. The men don't really like care. It's like whatever. But the women in my family have been very catty. They've treated me very different. Like I've always felt like an outcast in my family, and nobody wants to feel like that. It's mostly women in my family. Like there's not a lot of males. So it's mostly women in my family, and they have treated me like I had the plague. They purposely made me feel like I didn't belong. And I don't know if it's because I look different from them, or is it because... I'm assuming it's because I look different from them, I guess. Definitely do. And I was never the type to try to fit in anywhere. If people accept me, people accept me. If people don't accept me, I don't really care. And I think that's another reason is because I march to the beat of my own drum. I don't try to fit in. I don't beg for validation. I don't beg for acceptance. Oh, please accept me. Like, oh, can I kick it with you guys? Like, I don't really care for that. And when you're pretty, people see that as you being a bitch, but it's really not, because you just don't care for that. Like, the people that love you are going to love you, period. And the people that don't, they don't, and it's fuck them. And that's just what it is. I've had cousins treat me terrible because of how I looked. My own mother sometimes was like in competition with me, which I'll get into another episode of like the toxic black mother, which I cannot wait to get into because it's a real thing. And I didn't realize it until like 2 years ago that my mother was toxic. And she would put me down, especially like if we were around other family members or around our neighbors or just anybody, and they'd be like, oh my god, your daughter's so beautiful, your daughter's so pretty. My mom would be like, oh, she's all right, but they think that she's joking by saying that, so they would laugh, hee hee ha ha, but I knew that she wasn't joking, she was serious. Like, she'd always try to bring me back down. Like I said about the men, they try to humble you and bring you back down to earth. She would do the same thing. She still does to this day. But I just ignore it. And I don't let it get to me because I know that I'm beautiful. And I realize that she feels insecure, especially when other people are telling me how beautiful I am in front of her. She feels like, wait, but I made her. Like, what about me? I think that's like really disgusting because, like, why would you be in competition with your own daughter? Like, that's just really weird to me. I remember we'd be out together and people would be all in my face, men, women, kids. They would be all in my face, like admiring me, and you know, people would stop and compliment me like, oh my god, you're so beautiful. Oh my god, I love your hair. I love your outfit. Da da da. And I would see the look on her face, and she would be looking like, just like so uncomfortable and just so like awkward, and just like it pained her to see that other people found me beautiful. But for them to stop me and compliment me while I'm out with my mother, and they didn't really give her compliments, so she felt some type of way about it. So yeah, if women have been jealous of you all your life, it's okay for us to speak our truth because we're telling our story. Like, it has nothing to do with being cocky or conceited. I am the farthest from cocky or conceited. I'm actually very self-conscious, and there's some days where I just don't feel my best and I feel ugly and my self-esteem isn't the best. So to say that you've experienced bullying through the hands of men and women for being pretty, it's the truth. Like, there's so many stories of women talking about how catty other women were towards them, how men treated them, how men love to love bomb you because you're so pretty and they just have to have you, and then when they get you, they treat you like a toy, like a doll. And who wants to be treated like a doll? Like, no, treat me like a human being. And that's just what I want. I don't want to be treated like a trophy. I'm not a trophy. I'm not something you could just show off to your friends and take me here, take me there because you like how men are looking at you and looking at me, and you feel like, you know, you want to puff up your chest because this man's looking at your girl and now you want to fight him. And no, that's just so disgusting. Like, that's just not okay. Being pretty attracts a lot of predators, especially when you were younger, being a teenager. Like, I would say my glow up happened when I was like 12, 13, which was when I started, you know, feeling more confident and experimenting with different hairstyles and trying mascara for the first time and lip gloss, because I went to a private school, so we weren't really allowed to wear like a whole bunch of makeup. But I started experimenting with my look and, you know, trying different hairstyles. I think that was like around the first time that I ever got my hair flat ironed. And baby, when I got my hair flat ironed, you cannot tell me nothing. My hair was flowing in the wind. I was feeling so pretty. I didn't have no pigtails in my hair. I felt like a brand new person. And, you know, men are visual creatures, and men do not care how old you are. If you look a certain way, they're gonna look at you like you're a steak and they're a hungry dog, which is really scary because you're a minor, you're a child. Like, we need to watch the girls in our family, period, the small girls, period. But if they look a certain way, like their body's starting to come in, their facial features are becoming less baby-like, and they're starting to mature a little bit, we need to watch those girls around the boys, the men, whoever. And it's sad to say, but it's the truth. I'll never forget, I was in high school. I was coming out of my school. I had my school uniform on. And this grown-ass man had tried to talk to me. He literally saw me come out of school. And he tried to talk to me. And I was just like, what the hell? Like, it was crazy. Luckily, I was with someone else. I was with my friend. But it was scary. It was just the scariest thing ever. When you're pretty, men feel like they just have to have you. Like, they just want to devour you because you're so attractive. You're so pretty. And they just act a straight up fool. And you can get what you want from men when you're very pretty. It's easy to get what you want. If you need some money, they'll give it to you. Like, I've had... I don't mean to brag, but I've had men from like different states just send me money like in the past because of how I looked. And it's easy to get what you want. Like, you can literally ask for anything and they'll give it to you. They'll get it for you. Like, it does not matter. Now, I'm not saying, use people, but use your beauty. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Beauty is currency. We live in a very superficial world. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. We live in a very superficial world. That's why the beauty industry is worth billions of dollars. That's why we have services like nail techs, hair stylists, makeup artists, because beauty is currency and everybody wants to look good. Everybody wants to feel good. And when you look good, you feel good. I also have been like isolated in school from my family because of my parents, and I'm used to being like off to myself because I like to stay to myself because I've been just mistreated by almost everybody. I've been isolated. I've been treated so differently. I've had cousins just treat me horribly because of how I looked, but they all treat each other like they're best friends. But for me, they didn't really like me like that. They threw shade. They tried to, put me down and say like I act like I'm all that, but I really don't. Like, I really stay to myself and I mind my business. When I try to talk to you guys, when I try to engage in conversation, you guys ignore me, or you be like, yeah, whatever. So what's the point of me trying? There's really no need for me to try and talk to you guys because you guys are bitches anyways. And when I do try to engage in conversation, I might as well just not. So I choose not to. School was hard for me. I went to an all-girls school from freshman to sophomore year because I had to transfer because I was getting bullied. I don't know why my mom decided to put me in an all-girls school. The only reason why was because it was close by our house, which I find very stupid. And I was telling her like how miserable I was. And it wasn't until a girl had came to school with a knife saying that she was going to fight me, my mom finally listened to my complaints and was like, okay, we're going to transfer you out of that school. It took someone coming to threaten me with a knife for her to finally listen to me and say, we're getting you out of that school. That shit still hurts me to this day. That I was telling her what was going on, how bad they were treating me. And it wasn't until it had to come to that she was like, okay, like, you're serious. Like, you're not just saying this. Oh my God. They treated me horrible in that school. There were days I didn't even eat because they were just so mean to me for no reason. I did absolutely nothing to neither of these girls. But they just didn't like me. They treated me so bad. So bad. They treated me terrible. And there would be days that I didn't wear my mascara, I didn't wear my lip gloss, I wore like my hair back in a bun or a ponytail, and I didn't carry a purse just to, tone down a bit. And I feel like they treated me worse because even though I was like toned down, I guess I still stood out either way. And they just treated me horrible. Like, they were just so fucking mean to me. So fucking mean. It's hard to make like friends being a beautiful woman, being pretty, because like I mentioned before, women are very catty, women are very jealous. I've experienced so many jealous women in my life, friends, family, strangers off the street. But I've also experienced women trying to emulate me and trying to become me, which is very weird. Very, very weird. But that's the dark side to pretty privilege. Like, it's really hard out here. But it comes with its good, because things come for you easier than if you were, let's say, average or mid. Things come way easier. I can definitely say that. We are just offered more opportunity. There's more like room for mistake, and people just treat you just so differently. I've been out with my husband so many times, and men are so disrespectful. They will literally look at me and they'll see that I'm with my husband, we're holding hands, and they don't care. They literally don't care. Like, have some respect at least. If you see that I'm with my husband, this is clearly my husband, we both have on wedding bands and I have on my ring, my engagement ring. Have some respect and glance. If you need to look, glance, and then look somewhere else really quickly. But they will look at me like I'm by myself, and I find that so disrespectful. I don't like confrontation. I don't like people treating me any kind of way. And most of the time, when I've done nothing to nobody, it always stems down to jealousy, and because of how I look, what I have, how I carry myself, how people gravitate towards me, how people speak so highly of me, and they don't like that. Like, wow, you're pretty and you're educated and you have this, you have that, you have a beautiful family. Like, can I have something? So they were looking at me funny already and treating me funny already. But now that my life has changed for the better and I am at the most peaceful place in my life, I am the most happiest I've been in all 26 years of my life. And some people just don't like that at all. And I saw that. I've been seeing it, but I really saw it when it was time for my wedding and my baby shower. My family treated me like shit. Especially the female family members, they treated me like absolute shit. I got more congratulations when I was working at the time. I got more congratulations from people when I was accepted as a flight attendant than when I got engaged, when I got married, when I had our baby. People want to see you doing good, but not better than them. I feel like it just stems from like jealousy, because the older women, they're not that attractive anymore. They've had their kids, they've gone through hell and back, and they see you and you're beautiful, you're young, you have so much life ahead of you, you have so much opportunity and space for anything and everything, and they're looking at you like you don't deserve it. And that's how my family makes me feel. They make me feel like I don't deserve the life that I live. So, yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it was super duper long, but I wonder, like, can you guys relate? Like, let me know if there's any stories that you guys have, like if you've experienced bullying from being pretty and just mistreatment because of how you look. Let me know in the comments. Like, this is a safe space to vent. Please, girlies, my black girlies, this is a safe space. The comment section can be like our space to just talk and share stories and just be there for each other. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and be on the lookout for episode 3. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye, girls.